Yeah, they're saying prosecutors are now looking at evidence from a phone that was taken back in 2021. Remember that home invasion that happened at his house that year? People reported they'd broke into the crib, and he and his wife ended up firing shots during the situation. Well, apparently, that phone was seized as part of that incident, and now there's an argument that information found on it could potentially be used as evidence against him. Yeah, it definitely doesn't sound good, man.
Outside the courthouse from the Lil Durk hearing, and there was another kind of not so great piece of news for Durk. I mean, really, this was actually very bad news. It was ruled that this evidence that was on his phone, remember we heard about he had a phone that was taken from him after he was the victim of a home invasion in 2021. He had fired shots into the air, and allegedly, the cops basically said that they had probable cause to seize his phone to investigate because things weren't really adding up. Even though he was the victim of an alleged home invasion, they said that he'd been reckless and fired the shots into the air. Now, they held on to that phone from 2021. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation, because it happened in Atlanta, they had kind of, tried to crack the phone. They had got like a very basic, cracking of the phone where it was they described it as like a first unlock mode. So if you turn your phone off and you turn it back on, you're in a first unlock. It hasn't been unlocked yet, right? So if your phone is in that state, what it basically means is that they can't get everything. They can't get all the messages. They can get all your images. They can get the thumbnails. They can get screenshots, but they can't get the actual messages. So Durk and his team were basically trying to argue that because the phone had been held onto for 5 years, the FBI filed a federal search warrant for the phone all the way in June 2026, that they shouldn't be allowed to use that evidence, and it was gathered improperly. This was an L for Durk. The judge basically said, look, it seems like the cops acted in good faith. They had good reason to look at the phone, to seize the phone, to go through the phone back then because of the reckless shots that were fired into the air. It's not the FBI's fault. It's nothing to do with the FBI that the phone was held onto for so long. The FBI asked for that information in good faith, and the judge even said that if they continue trying to get hold of all of the other contents of the phone that weren't available yet, if they get them between now and the trial, which is in like a couple of weeks, he said, well, if the feds manage to get all of the information off those phones, then we're gonna have to revisit it then and decide whether I'm gonna be allowing them to look at all that stuff. And it sounds like that is gonna be able to be used against him. And the contents of the phone was pretty damning. It was, photographs, screenshots. Apparently there was a screenshot of a conversation where they were trying to get Lil Tim's address, and the government basically said, yeah, that we have the metadata to show that screenshot was 2 days after Lil Tim was released on house arrest. So they were tracking his movements. It sounded like the stalking was taking place. They said that the screenshot of Quando Rondo's concert posters that were found in the phone, that was within a few days of him being shot at outside of his concert. So the government basically said, look, we got that information fair and square. The judge wasn't really trying to hear the other arguments. I mean, he was trying to hear them, and he said, I'm not going for it. It is going to be allowed. And he said that it sounds like the authorities acted in good faith, and if they get more information, they're going to be able to use that too. So that was pretty bad news for Durk, to be honest with you. But I'm going to do a big update with everything else on my channel, Trapmore Ross on YouTube. So stay tuned for my full update. And there's a few W's that I'm going to let you guys.
Bro, he's cooked, man. This is a terrible situation, no doubt about it. But unfortunately, that's just where things stand right now. That's the position he's in, and he's going to have to deal with whatever comes next. There's really no way around it. But anyway, now let's talk about Claressa Shields. If you didn't catch it, Claressa Shields was in the ring yesterday, and man, that was a fight. She absolutely put on a show. Shields stopped Kaye Scott in the 6th round and reclaimed with WBA and WBC middleweight titles. So this was definitely not some ordinary night in the ring.
In 2 years, she's ready to go. They throw in every pound they've got. It's all over. Claressa Shields. Not one, not two, but 3 towels come in to stop this fight.
They were throwing everything into that ring, trying to get this beating stopped. 8 towels, 3 more towels, 2 pillows, 5 blankets. Man, they were tossing anything they could find in there. Shoes flying, boots, even old tires. It looked like everybody was saying, please, somebody stop this beating. I know bro was watching that fight with his eyes wide open, right? Like, nah, this is not what I signed up for. And then right after that, the next clip I came across on Instagram was Papoose getting her name tattooed on his arm. Man was basically saying, yeah, I guess I'm locked in now. After seeing that, I was like, oh yeah, bro is really committed. Take a look at this video up.
He really looked at that and said, you know what, let me go get this tattoo. And honestly, that's the part that gets me. People really out here putting their partner's name permanently on their body, man. That's wild. Especially when you're not even married. And even if you are married, we already know marriages can end in divorce. So putting your spouse's name on your arm is still a pretty serious gamble. You know what I'm saying? At least with marriage, I can understand the thought process. You're basically saying, I'm committed. This is supposed to be permanent, so let me put their name on me. Me personally, I probably still wouldn't do it, but I can at least understand why somebody married would make that decision. You know what I mean? It's just crazy, bro. Absolutely crazy. I don't know, man. Doing anything permanent like that is a major decision. Marriage itself is already a huge commitment, and people still choose to take that step. You know what I mean? But getting somebody's name permanently tattooed? Nah. I can understand getting your children's names. That makes sense to me. Even something representing God or your faith, I can understand that too. But personally, I wouldn't put anything on my body. I don't have any tattoos. None. If you ever see me, you're not going to find a single one. And I'm actually proud of that. Blank canvas, baby. No tattoos. Now, if you have tattoos, that's your choice. You decided that was something you wanted, and there's nothing wrong with that. My choice is just different. I don't want anything permanently marked on me like that. You know what I'm saying? The way I came into this world is the way I'm leaving it. Now, that was the main event with Claressa Shields and Kaye Scott. But before that fight even went down, there was another matchup that had people paying attention. Ray J went up against Orlando Brown. And man,
The Zeus champion, Ray J.
Oh my! This has changed his life. Ray J's back. This has changed his life. Ray J is back. If only he had one wish, and that wish came true. Go, Ray J.
Well, at least he made his big sister Brandy proud.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Good job, fellas.
Everybody went home safe.
honestly, if you ask me, I thought that fight was probably the more entertaining one of the night. There was just something about that matchup that made it more interesting to watch. And of course, when it was all said and done, Ray J was announced as the winner of that fight. So this is clip 3 out of 3. Take a look.